We're taught that flying is the safest way to travel, a modern marvel of engineering and precision. We buckle our seatbelts, put our trays up, and trust the calm voices in the cockpit. But in some corners of the world, that trust is pushed to its absolute limit. Places where the margin for error is zero, where pilots are not just flyers, but daredevils. What if your next landing could be your last? Today, we're taking you on a flight path to danger. We're counting down the 10 most extreme airports on the planet. These are the runways that test the courage of the world's best pilots and defy the very laws of aviation. Our descent begins on a stunning Portuguese island that looks like a paradise, but for pilots, it's a nightmare.
Welcome to number 10, Cristiano Ronaldo International Airport, Madeira. The first problem is the runway itself. The original was so short that it had to be extended by building a massive bridge over the sea. But the real danger here is invisible. Madeira is a mountain in the middle of the Atlantic. This creates extreme wind shear and turbulence that can slam into a plane without warning. Pilots have to be specially trained to land here, often needing to make a sharp, last-second turn to line up with the runway, all while fighting unpredictable gusts that can toss the plane around like a toy. One moment, it's a beautiful approach. The next, it's a battle against the elements. From a battle with wind, we travel to a destination where the danger comes from a shockingly close encounter with the public.
Number 9. Princess Juliana International Airport, Sint Maarten. It is one of the most famous aviation sites in the world, but it's famous for a reason. The runway is incredibly short, just 7,500 feet, forcing large jets to approach extremely low over the water. There is no room for error. If the pilot comes in too high, they'll run out of runway. Too low, and they risk disaster. For the tourists on Mayho Beach, it's a thrill, but they are standing directly in the path of the jet blast from departing aircraft, a force so powerful it can, and tragically has, cause serious injury and even death. It's a dangerous dance between machine, man, and a crowded beach. In the remote wilderness of Greenland, there are no long stretches of flat land. So to build an airport, you have to work with what nature gives you. Number 8. Narsarsuaq Airport, Greenland. The approach here is a terrifying journey through a deep fjord. Pilots must navigate between mountains, often in severe turbulence and low visibility due to fog. But the biggest threat is the nearby volcano. When it erupts, it spews abrasive volcanic ash into the air, which can destroy a plane's engines in minutes. Add to that the constant threat of icebergs drifting into the approach path and violent storms that can appear out of nowhere, and you have one of the most unpredictable and perilous landings on Earth. High in the French Alps is a runway so extreme it's famous for being featured in a James Bond film, but the reality is more terrifying than any movie.
Number 7. Courchevel Altiport, France. This runway is a mere 1,700 feet long, less than a third of a normal runway. To make matters worse, it has a steep 18.6% gradient. Pilots have to approach a valley and then clear a mountain ridge before dropping onto this bizarre uphill strip. There are no lights, meaning it's only open in good weather. And because of the surrounding mountains, there is absolutely no possibility of a go-around. Once a pilot is committed to the landing, they must land. The uphill slope helps slow the plane down, but if they miss their mark, the only thing waiting for them is a solid wall of rock and ice. Some airports are dangerous because of nature. Others are dangerous because of decades of tragedy and a notoriously difficult approach.
Number 6. Toncontín International Airport, Honduras. For years, this was considered one of the deadliest airports in the world. To land here, pilots had to perform a steep 45-degree bank to the left just moments before touchdown to avoid the mountains. The runway is short and sits at a high altitude, meaning planes come in faster and need more room to stop. This deadly combination has led to multiple fatal accidents, including a crash in 2008 where a plane overran the runway and slid onto a busy street. After years of incidents, larger commercial planes are now diverted to a newer airport, but for those who still fly into Toncontin, the ghosts of its dangerous past remain. What if you had to land a plane on an aircraft carrier that wasn't moving? Welcome to the island of Sabah.
Number 5. Juancho y Yaraskin Airport, Sabah. This is officially the shortest commercial runway in the world at just 1,300 feet long. That's barely longer than the aircraft carriers that fighter jets land on. Only specially trained pilots flying small propeller aircraft are allowed to land here. The runway is flanked by high hills on one side and sheer cliffs on the other 3. Strong winds constantly try to push the plane off course. If a pilot overshoots the landing even slightly, there's no runway left, only a long drop into the rocky ocean below. The Himalayas are home to the world's tallest peaks. Flying here is not for the faint of heart, and landing here is reserved for only a handful of pilots on Earth.
Number 4. Paro Airport, Bhutan. Only a few dozen pilots are certified to land at Paro. The runway is hidden deep in a valley, surrounded by 18,000-foot Himalayan peaks. The approach is entirely visual, meaning pilots cannot rely on instruments. They must fly manually, snaking their way through a narrow valley, making a series of sharp turns between mountains. Passengers often feel the plane is going to hit the side of the mountain. The final approach requires a steep, rapid descent onto a short runway. Powerful winds whip through the valley, making the final moments of the flight a true test of skill and nerve. It is considered by many pilots to be the most challenging approach in the world. Our next airport presents a unique danger found nowhere else on Earth. It's an airport runway that is bisected by a major city street.
Number 3. Gibraltar International Airport. When a plane is due to land or take off, the city's busiest road is simply closed down with crossing gates, just like for a train. Any error in timing could be catastrophic. But that's not the only danger. The runway is extremely short and surrounded by water on both ends. And the famous Rock of Gibraltar creates incredibly turbulent, unpredictable winds. In 2019, a British Airways flight was forced into a dramatic swaying go-around after being hit by violent gusts on final approach, a terrifying moment captured by passengers on board. The most remote continent on Earth presents the most extreme aviation challenge. Here, there is no asphalt, there is only ice.
Number 2. The Sea Ice Runway, Antarctica. This runway is used to bring supplies to the U.S. Antarctic Research Center. It is not built on land. It is a long stretch of groomed sea ice. Pilots must land enormous heavy aircraft like the C-130 Hercules on a surface that is floating on hundreds of feet of frigid water. The greatest fear is the stability of the ice. Before every landing, crews check the ice thickness to ensure it can support the weight of the aircraft. If the plane's weight causes the ice to crack, it could be plunged into the freezing Antarctic Ocean. Add to this the constant threat of whiteout conditions, where the sky and the ice blend into one, and you have a landing where the pilot is truly flying on faith. We have seen runways on cliffs, in valleys, and on the ocean itself. But the most dangerous airport in the world combines the worst of all of them. It is a place so perilous it has earned the title of the Mount Everest of Airports. It is the gateway for climbers hoping to summit the world's tallest mountain. But just getting here can be the most dangerous part of the entire journey.
Number 1. Tenzing Hillary Airport, Lukla, Nepal. Everything here is an extreme. The airport sits at an altitude of over 9,300 feet. The runway is a terrifying 1,700 feet long with a 12% uphill slope. On one end is a solid rock wall, On the other, a 2,000-foot sheer drop into a valley. There is no room for a go-around. Once you start the approach, you land or you die. The weather is violently unpredictable, and the high altitude robs engines of their power. It has been the site of numerous fatal accidents. Lukla is not just an airport, it is the ultimate test of a pilot's skill, courage, and luck. Flying is a miracle of the modern age, a testament to our ability to conquer the skies. We step onto a plane and trust that we will arrive safely at our destination. But these airports remind us that, even now, we are at the mercy of nature. They remind us that flying still pushes the limits of human skill, technology, and sheer courage. They are places where every safe landing is a victory against impossible odds. So the question is, would you dare to land there? Which of these airports do you think is the most terrifying? Let us know in the comments below. And for more journeys to the world's most extreme places, be sure to like this video and subscribe.